Hi, I'm Mark Toole with 8020service.com. Today's customer service video question of the day is from Quora. The question is, why do millennials lack customer service skills? Okay, so first of all, clearly, we'll just get this out of the way right now. The question is a generalization. My answer is going to be largely a generalization based off of this. There are many people that could be considered millennials who have plenty of customer service skills, so we'll go with the generalization as to some commonalities of this generation and why that may not suit them for customer service, at least as is. They're not saying this can't be learned or improved. It absolutely can, but first of all, I'm not going to talk about millennials to start. I'm going to talk about this idea of customer service skills. I did another video about this a while back. I won't go into it too much here, but I don't really think that customer service skills is really a thing that exists. I think that as it's commonly thought of, as it's trained in these conventional customer service businesses and departments, it's sort of a replacement, it's a procedure, it's an elaborate thing that's built to replace what really makes someone good at customer service, actually giving a fuck and wanting to help the person, and the other than basic technical knowledge, of course, actually giving a fuck and wanting to help the person, and an ability to communicate with someone, understand someone, express information clearly, etc. These are the things that I think make up customer service, and they're in places where they don't have in places where this is not really a thing, where they don't look for this, they don't expect this, they don't hire for this. They try to replace it with procedures, with scripts, with rules. If the customer says this, do this. If the customer says that, do that. And the ability to follow this elaborate set of rules is thought of as customer service skills. If you want to talk about that, maybe some of this stuff still applies, but I'm going to talk about my idea of this thing, the more general thing, the basic human interaction skills. The first part, of course, actually giving a fuck, comes largely from, not entirely, but largely from how the business is set up and structured. If you have your employees respected, able to make decisions, or if you plug them into a machine and basically turn them into a piece of a machine, that's different. But the millennial generation specifically, what would cause them to lack these skills? Well, here we go with the generalizations again, but let's do it. Number one, screen time, computers, the lack of playing outside, if you want to call it. We were raised on this, younger people even more so, with all this talk of abductions and things like that. It's scary. I've read something recently that they're actually at all-time lows, but people still, all-time lows, still scary. I'm not going to have that argument here, of course, but bottom line is these kids don't go outside. They don't play. It's not like the 60s when my mom was a kid and they just released the children out into the town and they would ride their bikes 6 miles or skip school and go downtown or whatever they would do, and nobody would know and nobody would care and they'd be home for dinner. This is not the case. Why does this matter? Because the kids in those days would be doing things on their own. They'd be making decisions. They'd be getting into conflicts. They'd be resolving those conflicts on their own, not crying to mommy, "Mommy, he said I was mean." Well, fuck you. Fuck him. Fuck all of it. No. I digress again. But the point is, people learn human interaction, social skills, through human interactions, socializing with people. The other things, of course, we'll continue the generalization here with social media and things like that, especially if you can be anonymous. You can go on there and say whatever you want with no consequences. You could tell somebody that they're a fat piece of shit and that they suck and their mother's a whore and all this other, whatever you want to say about them. You can say all this stuff and hide behind a stupid anime character as your avatar, and nobody knows who it is. Even if they do know who it is, they can't punch you in the face because you're hidden. So you don't learn as much at least, there's obviously, these people aren't locked up in front of computers all the time, but you don't learn as much the interaction, the way of having a difficult conversation with someone, saying something like, "Hey, I want you to do this." Well, I can't do this, and I'm not going to do this, but let's talk about this in a civil way instead of me just saying, "No, fuck you." Businesses, like I said, try to script this out. Oh, you're going to do it wrong, so we'll have a script. But really, you want somebody who can do this on their own, somebody who can talk to another person intelligently without acting like a jerk. That's another part of it. The other thing, of course, is we hit on this again. I listened to a podcast about this recently. It gave me this idea, but the lack of kids playing on their own. They're always in some sort of structured activity. Schools, even. It's not figure out, here's a problem, figure out how to solve it, for the most part. Maybe some things in college, depending what subject you take. But really, it's like learn these facts, puke them back onto this test, so our school gets a good score and gets more money. Generalization, yes, I told you this is full of generalizations, but they don't learn to think, to figure out what the goal is and figure out a way to achieve it. They learn to be told what the goal is and to be told how to achieve it and to be graded on not their results, not the outcome, but on how well they followed the process. Customer service departments make this worse. They make it exactly the same way. Just read the script. Just read off the script. Follow the procedures. Well, this doesn't make sense, and I can help them this way. Read the script. That's part of it here. Again, if you want to talk about these conventional customer service departments, the ones that just plug people into a machine, turn them into a piece of a machine, an NPC, basically, to be clear, I don't advocate this. It's not a good way to do your customer service. But if you want to talk about those businesses, again, millennials are raised to believe they're all special and wonderful and unique, happy people, and they do not want to be plugged into a machine and forced to read off a script written by someone else that probably isn't very good. This, I will say, is a positive characteristic of the millennial generation. Sounds a bit negative with a lot of this stuff, but like I said, generalizations and nothing that can't be worked around or overcome by an individual who wants to, just general trends that I'm seeing here. So those are a few examples. I could come up with more, but really, if you have that basic framework, I like to simplify things. That's why the website is 8020service.com. If you have that basic framework, actually giving a fuck and wanting to help the customer and having basic social skills and an ability to interact back and forth with someone on your own without a script, we can add in actually being able to make a decision, and of course that requires a business to allow the customer service agents to make a decision, which I also highly recommend. You have those things, specific examples, how they got that way. You can go from there. You can think about that. Think of your favorite millennial stereotype and plug it into that, and you'll have some more reasons as to why millennials lack customer service skills. But that's all. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna wrap this up. As always, I do one of these videos every weekday on a customer service question. I write regularly on business and customer service topics, both on Quora and on my website, 8020service.com, where I have a daily email list which you should and could subscribe to if you go to the website. And then, of course, like I said, these videos posted on Quora, on YouTube. So if you have a question, ask me on Quora, ask me in the comments in YouTube. I may use it in a future video. And as always, like, subscribe, thumbs up, follow, all that stuff. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.